Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello again. How are you? I'll just wait a few minutes for some folks to come on in because I want to make sure that I get as many people to hear this as possible. Hello, hello. Lack Gak, how are you? Come on in. Just going to wait a few minutes to let some folks come in. Before, if you like to share the scope, please go ahead. How you doing this evening? I hope you are well. So, all right. So, just to give you a background on who I am, my name is Elke Clinton. I am the CEO and founder of Savvy Moms Unite, where I teach moms how to live a simple, practical, realistic life. My many years of working, I've worked as a career coach. And in that time, I found many ways to work one on one with my clients on how to transition in their careers. So, some of my clients were going from entry level to mid level jobs, some were going from no job to a job. It was various ways and opportunities. Hello, hello, come on in, Big Chat. Michael, how are you? I'm just getting started here talking about my background and what I do. So I've worked as a career coach for many years. I transitioned in my own experience on many occasions. So there are things that you need to consider if you're looking to make a big jump from one career or one field to another or one type of job to another. You have to consider these things because it will help you in moving forward. So if you've already made the decision, you're like, okay, I don't like the current field that I'm in. I want to explore another field. I've worked with people who transition from corporate to working in a school system, or people who, had entry level jobs or worked in a blue collar positions, moving into more corporate like settings. So if you are looking at making major jumps, here's the things you need to consider. One, have you researched the field you are considering? Have you found out what the pay scale is? What skill levels are required? Long-term benefits. So, are you going to be able to go back to school? Will they pay for your continuing education courses? Will they provide professional development opportunities for you? And what are people saying about that job or that field? With access to so much, you can Google and check out, people's reactions to certain jobs. You could go on job boards and just find out, like, what are people really saying about the field and opportunities that are available? Because some fields are overly saturated, and you certainly don't want to spend all this time going back to school to obtain a degree to find out that you're going to be stuck with this degree and you can't get into that position. So just doing your research before you make that decision. All right. Do you have what it takes? Do you have the skills? Do you have the know-how? Have you even done a skill assessment? Do you know what you're good at and the things you need to work on? A lot of times, when I would do practice interview with some clients, the question they got stuck on is, what are your strengths? And they would get stuck because they hadn't really done some assessments or really sat down and thought about what are they good at. So with this one, what I usually have clients do is I'll have them write 10 skills that they know they're really good at. They're almost perfect at. And then 5 things they want to work on. And the reason why I say do more on what you're good at, because a lot of times we know what we're bad at. We know what we need to work on. It's easy for us to fill that out. But what we need to push ourselves is to think about more things we're good at so that we'll be able to market ourselves better, right? 3, does your resume even reflect your skills and experience of your future employer? Like, can you market yourself to your future employer at this time? Do you have what it takes? Have you even taken a look at your resume? Many times we will not look at our resume until it's time for us to look for another job. But I say update it every year. Even if you're still employed by your current employer and you haven't made the decision yet, just look at it every year and do some updates. There's some skills you learn throughout the year, throughout your time there. There's some advancements you've had. You want that to be reflected. And sometimes waiting until years later to update it takes a long time. So you want to ensure that you're doing it every year. you're taking a look at your resume, and it reflects what your future employer might be looking for. Are you willing to take an entry level position? This is number 4. Are you willing to take an entry level position to break into that field? So you may have a couple of degrees under your belt. You may have 1 or 2, and you're used to a certain pay scale, and you're used to a certain lifestyle, and you want to transition, but you can't get into the mid-level or higher position in that field yet because you don't have all the skills needed. So are you willing to consider an entry-level position to break in, pay your way, and then move on to advancement? Can you really pull that off in the time that you need to in order to get what you need out of your opportunity, right? Can you do that? And if you're saying no to that, then you know for sure that you need to reconsider. You know that because if you want it bad enough, you're going to do whatever it takes, right? So you have to consider that might be an option. Some people are blessed. Some people can move right into a mid-level position. I was able to do that. I went from career coaching to working as an administrator in a school. I was working for a hospital at the time and went right into a mid-level position at a school. I was blessed to be able to do that. But that took finessing. That took a lot of making sure I was really on board, and I was going to do whatever it takes to be good at this job. 5, can your current lifestyle withstand your new life career choice? Can it withstand it? So, right now, as you will be, can you truly make that jump? Can you do it? Can the money that you're getting paid withstand a loss of income for a little bit? So we know that with transitions, it takes some time. Sometimes you may have lost your job and you have to look to something else. Or you may have made the leap like I did. I made a leap. I went from being fully employed, getting a paycheck every week, to complete full-time employee. Full-time entrepreneur. What am I saying? Let me correct myself. Full-time entrepreneur. And I needed to consider, okay, with the lapse in a paycheck for some time, can my current lifestyle withstand that? Can I get through those moments where I'm not going to have a paycheck coming in and I'm trying to grow my business? Can I do that? Can you do that? Can you go from a job and no pay for a few weeks until you get that job? It's something you have to consider. And even if you got an offer right away, well, you got to think about it. Sometimes checks do not overlap. And you have to move for a job, you got to think about moving costs and storage costs and all that good stuff. And first month's rent, 2 months rent, sometimes 3 months rent, depending on where you live. Those are things you need to think about when you're making that transition, because the transition could be more frustrating in the end if you haven't really considered all what it comes with. So just making sure you consider those 5 things. So I'll go over it again. 1, have you researched the field? Do you know what it takes? Do you know what it includes? Do you know what the pay scale is? What would be required of you? What are the growth opportunities? 2, do you have what it takes? Have you done a skill assessment? Writing 10 things you're good at, 5 things that you need to work on. 3, your resume, has it been updated? Does it reflect what your future employer is looking for? 4, are you willing to take an entry-level position if it means that that's what you need to do to break into the field? And 5, can you make the transition financially, emotionally, spiritually? Can you really do it? Are you fully ready for that and the time that it'll take for you to make that transition? So that's it for tonight. I hope this finds you well. If you want to learn more about what I do, my website is www.savvymomsunite.com. That's where I offer services to those looking to make the transition. I love working with people. I love seeing them get the job or the career of their dreams, and that's what made me really enjoy what I do. So I'm happy to help. Please check me out, and I'd love to support your transition. Take care. Talk to you soon.